Well, this is Jose Trujillo, the world's greatest living artist. I'm here in my casa, mi casa, su casa. Okay, so I want to give you guys, as much value as possible. Okay, this is my game now. I want to be able to give you as much value as possible, as opposed to other videos where I'm kind of chatting with you, and I'm going to continue doing those, but I want to give you as much value in these new videos. So today I want to give you three things that will maximize, okay, or that can maximize your productivity as an artist right now. Three things that you can do, uno, dos, tres, that you can maximize, that can pump you up, pump up that productivity. So, as artists, often we're like, man, I wish I could be more productive. I wish I could get more shit done, but I'm not getting any shit done. Or I'm waking up too late, or I'm going to bed too late, or whatever, right? You got all kinds of things. Many of those are excuses. I understand. I make them myself. I make those. I mean, I teach this stuff, and I make those excuses myself. From time to time, I have to squirt myself out. So, without further ado, and by me just sharing with you that I'm just as human as you are, flesh and bone. Here we go. Number one, you want to wake up early, guys. Okay, you want to wake up early. Wake up earlier than what you're waking up. And if you're already waking up early, then you can. You thought I was gonna say skip it? No, go to bed earlier then. If you already wake up early, then go to bed earlier, a little bit earlier. Why am I saying this? It is so much better. To start very early, whatever you're going to do in your day. Maybe you're not doing this full time. Maybe you're not a full-time artist or whatever. But you will achieve so much more by simply beating the sun up. If you can wake up before the sun, you're miles ahead of everyone else. All of the studies show that most of the people that, not most, I think almost every person that's doing anything out in the world, they're early risers. And there's a reason why you have so much more energy early. And if you can get done those tasks that take most of your energy early in the morning, man, you're in good shape already. So number one, wake up earlier. Number two, focus on the one thing that you have to do. That one thing that you can't live without. For example, for me, is painting. I'm a painter, so I paint, right? If you were to take away something from me, right? If you were to take away an activity from me, and I'd be like, oh my God, you can't take that one away from me. That's the one you want to put 90% of your energy into, if not more. But at least 90% of your energy should. See, what most of us are doing as artists, we're like, oh, I'm going to go paint. I'm going to go draw. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to take some photos, and I'm going to do a video, and I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to put it on Facebook. Oh, I know what I'm going to do too. I got to go check out some art materials. And we're doing all of this stuff, around art. All of this stuff around art. Well, I just want to tell you that if you don't focus on that one thing and give it all of your energy, it ain't going to happen. It's very difficult. The number one reason why most people, okay, or everyone, I would say, if I was a Sith Lord, I'd use totalitarian talk. Why most people can't achieve their goals is because they're out of focus. It's the focus. See, you keep glitching. You go into doing your artwork, and then you do something else, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna check my phone, and then you do something else, and then I'm out of paint, and then you have to go buy paint, and so you're doing all of these things. And you're like, well, but I need to, yeah, but you don't need to do them that same day. You don't. Every day you're doing something else. You keep glitching. You keep glitching your disc, your tape. For those of you that are born in the 80s, you keep glitching it. And so you have to find that one activity and do it uninterruptedly. It doesn't matter. Now, if you are getting interrupted, you need to handle that, whether it's your spouse, your children, people, phone calls. Everything and anything is going to want your attention. Everyone's a fucking attention vampire. They want your attention. So you need to cut it out, right? You need to cut them, and it's going to take some practice. It's going to take some practice, and it's going to take some commitment. You know, you need to take some commitment in there, but it's so important, because if you don't do that one job that actually gets you the results, okay, you're taking out the trash, you're going and you're cleaning your studio. Oh, you have to go iron some clothes. You have to go cook. You have to go do all of these things. Right? You have to. No, you don't. You need to focus your energy into that one activity, or else it's just gonna pass by you. That opportunity, it's gonna pass by you because you're not focusing on it. And then number 3, you need to delegate other tasks. Or if you're not in the point where you're delegating other tasks, then you need to just chuck them, you know, toss them, throw them away, go burn them. All the other tasks that don't serve you. So put yourself a time frame. I don't know what that is for you. For me, a time frame is about 12 hours a day. And I say about because sometimes it's more, not less. It's about 12 hours a day, my time frame in which I just create artwork. Nobody interrupts me. This is how I'm able to earn a living as an artist, and this is how I'm able to pay for my stuff. This is how I'm able to, just make the movement, right, that I'm doing. My personal economy. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm getting out there, like people say, as an artist, right? Is that I have 12 uninterrupted hours, and they don't always look the same. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes I start my day later. Like today I have to do some work here at home. So my day didn't start in the studio earlier. But you know what's going to happen? I'm going to stay in the studio till midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning, or I might sleep there, because I need to have 12 uninterrupted hours to create artwork. And nobody fucks with those, because if they do, they have to deal with me. Yeah, but you have to you have to delegate, guys. One of the things that I started doing right away, as soon as I started getting a little bit of income, I started delegating activities that were killing my time. Now, look, guys, you can delegate everything you want, okay? But if you're not committed, you're not gonna put in the time. You're gonna find reasons why not to do the work. So before you start delegating and paying people to do your chores and whatnot, make sure that your capacity, your commitment is very high. It's very high. Because this is something that I found out also throughout the years, is that I started delegating, but somehow I got to a point where I was like, I was running so hard, delegating jobs or tossing other jobs that didn't make sense to my 12 hours of uninterrupted studio time. For you, it might be different. For you, it might be 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours. It doesn't matter what the hours are, as long as you don't mess with them every single day. You respect them. That's all that matters. Even if it's 2 hours, man, if you respect them, you're miles and miles and miles ahead of everyone else. The problem is that we don't respect them. We do 2 hours today, and then we skip the next day, and then the next day is 1 hour, and then the next day is 3 hours, and then the next day it's like, well, I'm kind of tired. I won't work today. And then you keep skipping it. You keep scratching it. You keep scratching the disc, the LP. So here's something that I found out as I was starting to earn income as an artist, and I started delegating, paying other people to do certain tasks and whatnot. What I found out is that I still found myself without time. Isn't it weird? Even though I was paying people to cook, paying people to clean, paying people to package my work, paying people to list stuff online, to list my paintings online, paying people to do this, and I still found myself without enough time. And I was like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? How come now I have 5 other people in my studio, where when I started it was just me, and then I added my wife, right? And now I have 5 other people in my studio, and I still don't have time. Wait a minute. And I had to look back, I had to take a couple of steps back, and I realized my commitment was lower, right? Got lazy, my commitment was lower. And I was like, See, when I started, my commitment was very high, and then it started, you start getting soft. If you don't watch that, you start getting soft. So that's a whole other video. But I just want to give you a heads up right there. Keep an eye on it. Your commitment needs to be high. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how much you delegate. If your commitment's high and you're delegating and tossing activities that don't help you, you're going to like fly, you're going to skyrocket. It's just the way it is. Why? Because, okay, this video is about 3 things that you can do to maximize your productivity as an artist right now. These are 3 things, okay? Because, for those of you who just joined in, what happens is that lack of focus, okay? Lack of focus and time, not time as in I don't have any time. No, time as in you put that time in there and you respect it. Lack of focus and time in there. So you have to do the right activity. That one activity that you have to do, that you must do. For artists, is painting, guys. It's not listing work. It's not blah, blah, blah. No, for artists, it's painting. Don't get this wrong, okay? That one activity that you have to 90% do more than all other activities. You have to put your focus so hard on it and put time into it every single day. You know, every single day. 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, whatever it is, every single day. And don't interrupt it. Don't interrupt. Don't get upset with people. It's no one else's fault. You need to craft your own day. You need to figure out how to craft your own day and don't interrupt it. It's very easy to start blaming people. It's very easy to start saying, well, it's because I had to take my kid to school. Well, it's because last night. Well, it's because... No, it's your responsibility. That time frame, whatever it is, whether it's 2 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is, it's your responsibility. And you have to look at it like a fucking hawk. You have to pay attention to it so much because it'll slip from your fingers if you don't pay attention to it. And it's the reason why you're not as productive as you should be. And if you're not as productive as you should be, that's why you're not getting paid yet the way that you want to be or you should be. Marcia says, are you doing so? You know, my problem is my job. No time for my painting. So sad. Yeah. You have to figure out where you're going to place it. For example, look, I used to have my job, my daytime job before this, right? So I didn't. The problem is focus, really, Marcio. I see where you're coming from. The problem is focus because looking back, I did have time. Again, I just spend it on all these other things. So I'll run you through one of my normal days back in the day. When I first started, before I went full-time as an artist. This was about 11 years ago. I used to go to my job in the morning, 8 hours. It didn't require more than... Now looking back, I'm like, wow, it's so weird, man. It was only 8 hours, and I had another 8 hours to be productive. And it wasn't. So I had 8 hours, and then I would get out, and here's what I would do. I would start like going, because you're confused, right? We get confused about what to do. So I went to the art store. I would walk around the art store, and then I would go to Home Depot and walk around and imagine how I was going to build my studio and the easel and how I was going to put this here and that here, and then bins, and then and just allow daydreaming. And then I would go and spend, I used to smoke, right, cigarettes, and I would go and go outside the store, stand there, think about it, smoke 2 cigarettes, do some numbers, pull out a calculator or my phone or whatever, and be like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. If I do this and if I do that, this is what's going to happen. And then I would go with a friend, grab a beer, and talk about it and think about it. And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah. This wasn't every day, but this was 2-3 days a week, go get some coffee, sit at the Starbucks, and think about what I was going to do, how I was going to do things. And so a lot of thinking, not enough doing. Had I gotten out of my job and say, you know what, I got 2 hours, go. I got 2 hours to do this, go. And that would have been different. As a matter of fact, I did. And when I started doing that, I just didn't do it for a long time. I did it for a short period of time. I got to a place where I was like, you know what, I need to do this. And here's why I say I did it for a short period of time, because it started working right away. It only took me a couple of months. It took me about 3-4 months. Not that many, guys. 3-4 months. I was doing something every day, the same thing. And all of a sudden it started growing into this thing. When I couldn't handle it there anymore, okay? When I couldn't handle it there anymore, I started jumping to other areas. Meaning, hey, you know what? I can't cut my grass anymore. I can't take care of my yard anymore, because having a full-time job and then cooking and taking care of my yard and blah blah blah, it's killing me. I can't do that anymore. So I started delegating stuff right away. I started delegating stuff with a little bit of income that I was receiving from the painting, so that I could have more time to paint. So for those traditional people out there, ladies, if you're the one doing, I don't know, a lot of the taking care of the kids or the cooking or whatnot, you need to talk to your spouses. And you're getting in trouble here. You need to talk to your spouses. I mean, everybody should be participating, right? Everybody should be participating. I was blessed because my wife and I started participating in this together, right? But I come from a very traditional background, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to continue most of those ideas, at least. The vast majority of those ideas. I didn't want to continue them. So in my house, it wasn't like, well, you do the dishes because I am the man. You know, that misogynistic bullshit. In my house, it wasn't like that. In my house, it was like, all right, how do we maximize? How do we make sure that you and I both have time to go do the things that we want to do? Because we're married, right? But we're also independent humans, right? There's an independence in this being. And this being wants to be an artist, right? There's an independence, and yes, we need to work together, but you can't neglect that there's an independence. You know, every human being is sovereign, right? It's I don't know how to say this word. It's soberano, right? Every human being has this thing that I must go after this goal and whatnot, whether it be health goals or income goals or whatever it is, and the partner needs to be there with you to swim symbiotically, right? You need to swim together, but you're still an independent human being. You're just in a partnership. That's the difference. And I think that what happens with a lot of us is that we place tasks and all kinds of things, and we shop them to other people, and we shop them to the other person, and that's not going to work. You know, that's not going to work. And so as soon as I started getting a little bit of income, I hired someone to clean the house. You know, I was like, babe, you and I ain't washing dishes anymore. Someone's going to wash the dishes. Right? I still wash dishes, but at least not, you know, being the main job, right? I started having someone wash the car. I started ordering meals. Prepped meals. We're not cooking anymore. I told her we're not cooking anymore. We're having meals prepped, sent to our house. And those little things, right? Those little things, they're not very expensive. They do get expensive, I'm sure, when you're talking about a full family. But it was just 3 of us, and so little things like that. You know, if that doesn't take time, or if you love doing that and that's part of being with a family, then you should, you know, do that. Don't toss that or delegate that if it's part of your family dynamic. But the real reason why we don't do things or we don't have time, guys, it's because we're out of focus. The lack of focus is you know, when you sit there and you're like, man, I could be doing this gallery shows, or I could be, I don't know, everybody has that. I'm sure you do as well. You sit there and you're running numbers and you're like, man, if I sell 2 paintings like this a month, or if I show my work in 1 gallery like this a month, or blah, blah. You know, when you start doing that, we all do it. Anyone who's looking to do it full time. When you start doing that, it's because it's true. It's true. Like, your mind is very intelligent, so you're projecting. The reason why you haven't gotten it yet is because you're all over the place. If you just focus, if you zero in on that activity, that one activity, and you do it every day, day in, day out. I'm upset, I'm tired, I had an argument with my partner, my kid's not listening to me. So what? Day in, day out, day in, day out, you're doing that. If you're doing that every single day, it's going to start paying. It's going to start paying. It's going to start paying right away. It's going to be months before it starts paying you, in whatever it is. It might be Instagram for you. It's going to start paying in the sense of people following you and your follower count grows. If you're selling on Etsy, it'll start paying you in the sense that you're going to start getting seen. And if you start, the whole point is that if you get seen, that's how people buy. It's not what you're fighting is getting seen. It don't matter really your prices or your art. Imagine if you're the only artist on Etsy. You're really fighting is getting seen. That's really what you're fighting. Every artist is fighting that. The difficult thing is getting seen. You're not getting seen because as you put something on Etsy, so does another 100,000 artists at the same time, or at least 1,000 of them the same minute or the same hour. So you're not getting seen. And so the more you're there, the more you will get seen, right? The more you participate in there, the more you have activity in there, you're going to start getting seen. And so I hope that this was helpful, guys. These are my 3 things that you can do right now to maximize your productivity as an artist, okay? So I'm just going to run through them really quick again. I'm not going to explain them, just going to run through them so that way you guys can have an idea. The only person I argue with is myself. I'm very lucky. Nice. Yeah. And even then, right? And even then, it goes wrong. It goes south. I always joke around and I say to my wife, sometimes I can't even stand myself. Right? So it's the same. Whether you're with someone or you're alone, you'll find a way to argue, right? Number 1, wake up early. Okay, wake up early. Early bird gets the worm. Wake up very early. Number 2, focus on that one activity that actually pays you. The one activity you can't breathe without as an artist, right? The one activity that you're like, if they take that away, shit, I can't. I need to have that activity. So you need to do an inventory of the top 3 activities. Top 3, not 10, 5, not Instagram, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. No, top 3 activities that you can't live without. And out of those 3, pick the one that is the most important, the one that you absolutely cannot live without out of those 3. So you make a list of activities that you have to do as an artist. And then out of that list, pick 3. And out of those 3, pick 1. And that one is the one that you have to put disproportionately more time and focus. That's the one. So focus on a single activity. Number 3, delegate tasks or toss them. Maybe you can't pay people yet, so toss them. It's better not to do them. A lot of people think, well, yeah, but at least if I do a little bit. No, it's fucking up your other focus. It will. Toss it. Whether it be Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, toss it. Toss it. You'll pick it up when you're ready. Just toss it. Because if you don't, it keeps slicing attention from your main activity. You'll be fine without it. You'll be fine without Facebook. You'll be fine without Instagram, unless that's the main activity. If that's the main activity, then don't toss it. But to 99% of people, that's not their main activity. So again, guys, lack of focus, and devotion of time. You need to have both. You need to have focus, okay, focus, and uninterrupted time, so that you can put that focus energy into that pocket of time. Focus and a pocket of time. I know it sounds like, did I get it? Well, if you get it, If you get it, you should be receiving the results that you're after. And if you haven't yet, it's because you still don't get it. That's why I talk the way I do. I try to puncture in there. So take care, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.